Go right ahead.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm John Kennedy, I'm the Forest County Treasurer. And I really appreciate you guys coming out. We have nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon than to listen to a seminar on property taxes and all things, right? If I'm a little lethargic, it's because yesterday I ran in a marathon on a trail in Ravenna National Park, and it turns out it wasn't really a marathon, it was more like an ultra, that it was 28 plus miles. They didn't tell me that at the beginning, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. It wasn't hot or humid or 90 degrees or any of those things. But anyway, if I look a little bit wiped out, it's because of that yesterday, so my apologies. But thanks again for coming out to this today. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I arrived at becoming somewhat of an expert on property taxes. It's a job, and last year, as you know, everybody in this room probably got a nice little letter in the mail from our county auditor. And I don't want you to hate on anybody in the auditor's office or Matt Kelly. They're just following the law, and they're doing their job. But last year, everybody got those nice little letters saying, hey, the value of your property went up. And people were ecstatic about that because guess what? When your property value goes up, so do your taxes. Now, it's not a one-to-one, you know that. If on average your valuation went up 50-some%, or 33%, which is what the average was, your taxes are going to go up about 15%. So it is definitely not a one-to-one, but especially for seniors, and this is the thing I started hearing last year immediately, was from our seniors saying, John, I can't afford this. I'm on fixed income. My fixed income is fixed. That didn't go up. And now I'm expected to pay out a few more $100 every in February and then in July again. I can barely afford right now to pay for my what I need to survive. Then come back and deal with the big inequities with the way that we finance public schools in the state of Ohio. It's more complicated, but simplified. When I was on the law business without these issues, they kept trying. It's a really complicated issue. It's we've got to explain the ways of a lot of different ways, and it's really complicated. It's not complicated. It's math. It's math. And I tell you what, if the national average is that residents are paying 44% of the property tax government, why don't you try to change something off of the property tax burden for residents here in the great state of Ohio from 66% to something 50% for starters? If you drop the rate 50%, that'd be great too. But get a commercial entity to pay their fair share. I'm going to go to another item that has also been on the agenda down in the State House. I've talked about a lot of the stuff that just happened with the state budget. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know this, Mr. Delong did veto almost all of the property tax, what was packaged as property tax relief. It was terrible ideas, honestly. One of them was, we're gonna do better than kick the can. We're gonna kick the can around some county. And Mr. Kennedy, and Mr. Kelly, and Mr. Lewandowski from the prosecutor's office, and also the county budget commission. And one of them, because it's property taxes are hard. So it's hard for us to grapple with at the state level. So we're just going to go down to these guys at the county level and let them deal with it. And let them do the clawback of money from the school district. School districts, in our book, are overspending, and they're not good fiscal stewards of their budget. They got all of this money that they're just wasting, and they're just rolling them. No management, and there's very little transparency and oversight of these entities. So you, the commission, you're going to be charged with this, and you're going to be handling those school district budgets, and you're going to be yelling on a certain percentage that are carried over from the year before. You're going to claw that money back, Mr. Kennedy. You're going to claw back that overage, and you're going to package that as property tax relief for the people in your district. You're going to claw back that extra public school money. That's the solution. That's a joke. This is what they wanted us to do. And it's a serious policy prescription for fixing the property tax issue in the state of Ohio by putting it off on the shoulders of counties, all 88 counties across the state of Ohio. It would have provided that in the reality very limited relief to property tax folks, to residents. It would amount to just a snowflake of relief, not real transformative relief, not real impactful relief, but relief that any on the left can say, we fixed the problem. Nothing to see here anymore. We fixed this. We fixed it. That wasn't fixed at all. I know about it. I talked about it. A lot of people, county treasurers across the state of Ohio disagree with this as a policy solution. County governors, they had similar disaffection for this solution as well. And again, you have to look at intent here. What was the intent of doing this? If, their focus was solely on us redesigning public school, not township, not villages, not city budget, not county budget, one political entity, public school. Why? Why? Because defunding public schools is the end game here. Every time you hear a politician in Columbus talking about a property tax solution, you should always look at it through the lens of, is this going to help or hurt public schools? 9 times out of 10, it's to hurt public schools. Don't forget that. Again, the stats are 90% of our kids in the state of Ohio are going to public schools. 10% are going to private. Why not let public money be spent out of the public and rewarded into the private? If the privatization is within control, that's why. That's why. Right?
Tell it. Amen.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about a little bit. I know I'm talking here quite a bit, but I want you to walk away today thinking about what I just said. Every time I hear somebody talk about a solution about property taxes in the state of Ohio, what is it going to do for public schools? Is it going to help or is it going to hurt? We're talking about limiting the bill. HB 335. This is a bill out there. I think it's lawmakers' attempt to compete with the elimination of property taxes altogether. I think my Republican friends would like to be able to go back to their folks and say, wait a minute, instead of maybe eliminating all the property taxes, let's just get rid of what's called inside millage. I'm not going to be bore you with all the ins and outs of inside millage. Inside millage is basically a percentage of your property taxes that is stacked. It's not the low minimum. It's a certain small percentage of your property taxes that is meant to always provide a basic source, a minimum source of funding for schools, for roads, for EMS, for fire, all that stuff. If you eliminate inside millage, it's 100% taxable value. That's what inside. It's capped at 10 mils, which is the equivalent. I hate all this terminology. It's just to confuse people. But that amounts to it's capped at 1% of taxable value, and it's a stable source. What I said before. So, what's the impact if you lost just the inside millage proportion of property taxes? It's devastating. If those railroads have gone forward on path, the government's saying that schools are going to lose 2 billion. 2 billion annually. 2 billion. 2 billion. Counties, 850 million. Cities, villages, 650 million. Total loss of 3.5 billion worth of PE. And a potential loss of 20,000 teaching jobs. You have to have cuts to law enforcement, fire, EMS, education, debt repayment that's tied to bonds. That would be, you lose that. It would force new taxes. It would force new taxes. You pay for this, and you're going to have to pay some other way, right? What are you going to do? You're going to raise the income tax? No, we just created a flat tax, Mr. Kennedy. We're not going to raise that. We're not going to do that. Maybe for you guys down over here. But for us over here, we're going to be okay. You have counties, you have jurisdictions having no other choice but to do what? Do it right. And you know what the most popular word in the state of Ohio is today? We need to money to that, Mr. Kennedy. We need to have that money. 2025, 2026, tell you what, good luck. We're gonna, yeah, we know. What is it, 35 vote margin? 55 vote margin. To significantly support Ravenna Public School. One like just 55 votes, thanks to you guys. Portage County, what would be the impact of Portage County if we lost inside knowledge? $12 million annually. Our budget is not county budget, $68 million. A little shy of $70 million. 18% cut. Where are those cuts going to come? The county government. What's going to get cut? Right? Services that people need. JFS, things like that. I can see that being cut. What's going to be the impact on our schools? Mr. Ravenna, 6.6 million. If you lost inside knowledge. Peabody, 4.8 million. Streetsboro, 3.9 million. Kent, 3.3 million. So you need to be ready to pay for, to cover that loss. And here's the really catastrophic thing these guys included in the budget that was then vetoed by the governor. They said, county commissioners, Mr. Kennedy, not only can you claw back that overage money from the year before from these public schools only, but you know what else you can do? We're going to give you new tools to use in the tool shed. Approved levies, you guys can override. How about that? Huh? They try to sneak out of it. Right? County commissioners, budget commissioners, we, Mr. Kelly, Ms. Lewandowski, we can tell you what you voted on. You voted on locally and approved locally. And we could say, not so fast. Nope, we're shooting that down. In my book, having the budget commission, giving the budget commission this kind of authority and the ability to claw back overages. What are overages, by the way? That's just brutal. In my book, and a lot of minds, well, is functioning well. They are good fiscal stewards of their money. They carry over money because they've been so financially wise in terms of their spending. And what do those schools do with the extra money? They could invest it into more programming, more updates to the buildings. They can hire members back. They can expand. They can grow. They can develop new curriculum, right? They can get better schools. Make it a better place to educate our young people. As Mr. River, did the Lord just get this way in terms of like high level, high rank in the state and in the nation, just by happenstance? Or was it intentional? Right? Was it intentional? Decisions were made, money was collected, and it was reinvested. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. A lot of our school districts can also be high achieving if we have extra money to reinvest, right? And success breeds success. And in my book, I'm the guy who looks at county government. What is it that I want to see in terms of development? What's a benchmark of success? People are flocking for this county. There's a magnet, a draw, to bring people into this community. Because of what? What are the things that bring people into any community? Thriving public schools. Schools that are doing very well. Schools that are producing great educations for our young people. Schools that are giving back. Schools are an economic driver for any community. You point to any community and you say, well, that's a thriving community. I'll guarantee you the core of it is a high functioning public school that is doing well because it's attracting people from county, from all over, and you're like, well, I don't know. Tell you what, Ravenna's got a lot of really strong for us. Got thriving downtown, it's the county street, a lot of activity, and the public school is spreading. So I can live openly. I got some extra cash. I got more discretionary income, and my kids are thriving in that public school building. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we deserve? Doesn't that make us all better? I think it does. So again, I know it sounds like a broken record here. Two things. Fix Homestead Exemption. Fix it. Figure out a way to pay for it. We can do that in the state of Ohio. Value public schools. View public schools as that and the economic driver of our communities. Here. We do those two things. We look at every property tax fixed through the lens of, is this helping or hurting public schools? Then they will pay attention. But they're not listening. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Make them listen. We need to get them to listen to us. They missed up because they didn't listen at all. And now they're going to start to happen. They have a new property tax commission down in Columbus, which the governor created and really kicked off the current lawmakers because they said, well, this is line. We've been working on this issue for the last 2 years. We've been studying this issue for the last 2 years. And apparently, the people that were elected to the level were the disconnect. That's what Mr. Huffman said. That's what Mr. Huffman said after the UC stuff, and they weren't able to successfully override it. He said, oh, it just doesn't be a communication breakdown between us and the folks at the local level. It's called listening. That's what the breakdown was. You didn't listen. You didn't listen to any few. You didn't listen to any 65-year-old and older. And you know, this would be an issue, and there would be a push to amend the Constitution of the great state of Ohio and revenue through property taxes. Listen. Thank you.
the money from the lottery and the marijuana.
You know,
Exactly. We have money. We have money, Lois. We have money. The worst question is the good one that we hear often. What about lottery money? We thought that was supposed to be used as a solution for property tax relief. We heard recently we heard about hey, let's go after the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund. Let's use that. Yes.
tell them how much money's in that rainy day.
Mr. Harrison, that's a great question. Was it 2.4? Was it 4 million?
It's between $5 and $7 billion at the rainy day fund. They're waiting for it to rain. But it's raining on.
It's raining. So, Mr. Harrison, the money was he said it was 5 to 7 billion in the state's rainy day fund. And then his follow-up was, it's raining in Ohio. And I couldn't agree more. If you're going to find property tax relief, especially for our seniors, remember I mentioned that it costs about $250 million to finance Homestead Exemption relief to pay them from 26 mil to 50-some thousand, from 26,000 to 50-some thousand, which is the valuation decrease for your property, which would be extremely impactful. That would cost $247 billion. So we could go ahead.
$247 billion doesn't come to us individually. They get that money back.
They do. They get the money back. That's what you're doing. The $24 billion goes collect. So there are creative financing ways that you could provide relief first to seniors. Take care of seniors first. Budgets are a reflection of our value. Seniors value. We value our seniors. Take care of them first.
And as Laura mentioned, the lottery and marijuana taxes and all that. What about the money from the first energy fiasco several years ago, perpetrated by Republicans?
Yeah. Right. So the question was about the first energy scandal, the amount of money that taxpayers lost as a result of that scandal. How can we recoup some of that? We haven't recouped anything from that yet. I know that's still litigation, but how many more years do we need to wait on that to find some relief? I don't. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. In these board revision hearings, for me, the clarifying moment is always like, I tell folks, hey, here's how you work with the phone number, here's the email address. Here's the individual's phone number, here's the email address. You can reach out and contact them. 9 times out of 10, I mean, I don't blame, again, the residents or the voters for not knowing. Most people do not know who the state legislators are. And the other thing that I try to tell them is, actually, if we all collectively pay more attention to what's happening at the state level, we would be better informed, we would be better served. And because what happens at the state level impacts us more than any of the shenanigans that Trump is doing. Trump's doing a lot of bad crap. There's no doubt about that. And it's going to hurt us locally as well, and we're starting to see the impact of those cuts. But it's what we're doing for us that impacts us at a higher degree, right? It's more impactful. But most people have no idea what our state legislature is up to. And it's our job, it's my job to help connect the dots, right? Because the more informed we are, the more we can activate and get down there, sit on those, find the best ones, and lobby, and push, and control our state lawmakers into doing the right thing. I don't think they've seen or heard enough from us. They've heard just a little from us. And some of you in this room have done a great job in connecting, contacting with lawmakers and letting them know how unsatisfied you are with them and bringing you up to lead on these different issues. And I expect I will rent out a bus of speakers and drive down to Columbus if they held a hearing on media property tax reform. I would do that. And I'm not going to need just one bus. I'm going to need like 6 buses to do it because I think there's a lot of folks out there who want to be heard at the state level. And they can go down to the safety academy, you still have a speed on that box you keep talking. Yeah. But you gotta go to hearing, you can't keep getting to the state bill. So there's no hearing, which is what we did with this last thing. If you allow anyone to come down there and testify against all this crap that I've been talking about, it was all scrutiny. There was no public debate. There was no hearing.
But even when we do public debates and people show up, then they still are not listening. We've seen that in multiple bills that they've put forward, and they just are doing backwater deals here.
Yeah. So even when we do show our face and they do hear us, they still do the same thing. So my reply to that is, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same, this is my residents who come to sign. Well, John, they've not done a thing like this for the last 20 years. Okay. All right. Do you know who you elected? Do you know who you elected? Do you know what the values are? Do you know what the values of the people you elected? If you can't answer that question, if you know nothing more about the person you're voting for on election day, you know nothing about their value proposition, it's shame on us. Right? Right? So it can't be the case of saying, okay, where's the R? Or where's the D? It's got to be, where's the organization? Right? What are they believing? What are they going to fight for me? Are they going to stand up to speakers? Educated public, we should get an educated public to invest in school. Amen. Yeah.
I'd like to answer the question. Show of hands, how many people here had public education? Man, well, congratulations. So guess what? This issue with public schools and property taxes started 50 years ago. There was a group who wanted to end public school. So every time you hear them say this famous word, it's messed up, it's screwed up, the kids aren't getting an education, I'm here to tell you something. It works. I'm the product of it. I had 2 grandbabies just graduated from Ravenna High School. One was 9th grade class, and the other was on our honor too, going to Kent State. It works, but they don't want it to work. They're telling you, and I'm going to say this, and I ain't hurt nobody's feelings, but I'm going to tell you the truth. The system wants all of us old folks to die, and they want uneducated children, so they can control them. That's what this is all about. And Mr. Kennedy, you were wrong. I'm going to let you know something. You didn't receive any of that money. CAC got that money, and you helped the people of Bruce County get that money in a quick, fast way when we had that property tax money. And I thank you for that.
Thank you, my brother. I just want to bring it all in. When people call, and they say they're having issues with property taxes or making their house payment, what resources are you offering for them to get connected with right away? Do you have a list? Do you have a case manager on duty? What do you have?
You raised a question, a great question. What relief can we provide? What resources, what relief can we potentially provide? It's complicated, but it's not. I wish especially every speaker that I talk to, I could find some pool of money. Last summer I could, because the Community Action Council had that money, and I was able to connect people to that. This year, it's slim pickings. The first thing that I do, I go to the auditor, and if the person has had a valuation done of their property, or they're scheduled to be in the board of revision hearing, we encourage them to then come in for a board of revision hearing so they can potentially reduce the valuation of the property. And then, we just got through the first two collection cycles, and now delinquency is kicking in. Yeah. And I have reached out to the United Way. I have reached out to the veterans groups. They are looking for money for some of the seniors who I've talked to. So there are some existing resources, but we've got to find it's a case by case thing, which isn't right. That's why a long-winded way of telling you I am not satisfied with what we've done. Now, I will say that Kelly, County Auditor, and I have talked about, is there a pool of money that we could create? Is there a fund we could create at the county level to provide property tax relief for people, especially seniors? And so we're looking at that, and we are reaching out. I know he's reaching out to some veterans groups, but it's kind of piecemeal.
But you have wraparound services that you can give to people, family community services, town hall 2, community action council.
Of course.
You have someone, a panel that can, I guarantee you, because I worked in social services for 30 years, nonprofit, Summit and Portage, that these two entities need to have wraparound services together.
You're exactly right. To kind of reframe it for me, I was thinking property tax specifically, but in terms of the whole human being.
Correct.
And that's really what's at play here.
Correct.
Is the whole human is being impacted. It's not just property taxes. It's all the other things that have been kind of cut or dialed back in terms of funding now. So Community Action Council is a place that can provide some of the services that could be helpful to the taxpayer. And under that, Canada Community Services, Access Point. If you, for example, Access Point, I'm going to think about that. And residents of Portage County need to know this. If you ever ran out of insulin, or you couldn't afford your insulin, you get a hold of Access Point in Portage County, you will never go without insulin. And I don't want to speak for them, but I'm here, but if you're in the need and you're low income and you need medicine, don't suffer alone. Contact Access Point, and they will do whatever they can to help provide that prescription drug with the conversation you need. I do know that. So there are services. But the other thing I always get, I had a woman call me last week, 84 years old, can't pay her property taxes, she's really good, $4,000. And she's young enough, just struggling to even put food on the table. And can you help me with that? I said, yeah. So I pointed out to her all the different food pantry locations in Portage County. And I said, give these folks a call, and if you can still drive it, or she had a son who's living with her, if he could drive you out to some of these places on certain, I gave her the schedule, when they do the food pantry. Now, it's frustrating. I feel like I'm doing some good. The frustrating part for me is that we're just putting this together on the fly, right? There's not a comprehensive approach to any of this. One of the things I think we could do is to get back to your point. There should be a matrix, if you will, or if-then kind of a triage. Like, where you are, and if you're at this level, if you have this need, here's who you can contact. And if that's not satisfactory, then go here, and then go here, and then go here. But we need to provide. Yeah.
Clothing,
right.
medical,
and to your point again, we don't do a good enough job of connecting all the dots at the county level in terms of the services we provide. We need to do that.
If I'm not mistaken, 411 used to be the number you call and you say the problem, and they have a list and exactly where to go. I don't know if that's still the number, but I call them. I have a people 411 that this is their problem. Where do they go? And they went out. It's 411 now.
yeah.
The problem was, it's 411 still a thing, it's 211 now.
And I thought that was a terrific overview of the presentation. I just have one thing I'd like you to add to that, which is that answer that the city needs to listen. Could we also maybe have a law that they need to follow the law? How can we get that? Can we ask our county prosecutor if they would file suit against the legislature, saying, we have laws, you have to follow them. Right. If you don't follow them, we're going to start putting you in jail.
Yeah. I love that too.
Yeah. Hard people.
I did.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think that Portage County should have
Yes.
to put together that list because she has a brain that thinks that way. She's a friend of mine and I know that she has. Second of all, you did great. Thank you so much for caring about the community so much. If you can keep on top of this, organizing and whatever it's lost in a way that is so understandable. Every time I hear you, I love you more. You help me write my post that I'm going to be sending to all of them.
Thank you.
I think it's all them going to my question. And this is really fun, but it struck me when you were saying it. On the 2 decades ago, of the homeowners were paying 48% of their businesses were paying 20%, whereas now we're up to 6 and 21.
What happened?
Yeah, great question, and thank you for the lovely things. I did not give her any money or anything. Thank you for that. So 19 years ago, I think that the legislation thought we need to become more quote-unquote business friendly. And so they wanted to incentivize business development. So the means to an end of that goal was to promote a lower burden for commercial and business entities in the state of Ohio. And to me, that was the beginning of the trouble. A big part of the issue was when they passed that law 19 years ago to lower it from 40% to 21, 22% of the property tax proportion. And yes.
And in the 19 years, there's nothing changed about how businesses are coming to Ohio. Nothing.
Right, and I would argue that take a look at this. Do you feel as though we're just taking off in terms of the business development here in the great state of Ohio? I don't think so. I don't see a lot of businesses blocking me.
The answer to that question is our legislators don't listen to the people who vote for them. Take the money. And that's the problem.
We do. Do you think there's any effort by state Democrats to work against the people that want to put the property tax thing on next year? Do you think it's worthwhile to have an organized effort to work against them, or should we just pretend that they don't exist?
And I told you about this. I talked to you about the constitutional amendment push. I think the horse is out of the barn, and especially then. I hate to sound too negative about this, Lucy, but they didn't get enough signatures for it to be on the ballot this November, but they're certainly going to have enough to be on the ballot next year. I think there's a certain inevitability to the question. I think it is going to end up on the ballot, and if nothing dramatic happens down in Columbus by the end of next year, by election 26, then that amendment is going to pass. I think people, I understand, and I'm not saying that I understand where people are coming from. I just, they feel like it's more expensive to listen to them. And I don't blame them, because they haven't. Had they been taking care of seniors, we would be in this fix right now. So, to answer your question directly, is there anything we can do? We can reiterate the importance of the services that the way it's structured now, as often as it's structured now, the importance of the services themselves. And why it's so important that we have this funding for our schools, for our roads and bridges, for our EMS, for our fire, for our police, for our villages, for our township, why all that matters. As ticked off as we are, getting rid of the whole thing and maybe get the back one isn't going to solve the problem.
And I too appreciate your continued advocacy on these issues regarding property tax. With your letters to the editor, and you continue feeding almost everybody before you stand and won't leave their house. However, I'd like to comment about the 66-21% dichotomy.
Yeah.
I go to most county commission meetings on Thursdays. And last week, one of the issues was the JFS, which children's services and senior services. That, well, we're going to add an additional new levy of 0.5% on the next ballot. And all of the commissioners, but particularly the Senate, said, you know, we have people calling us every day. We can't afford to stay in our house. We can't afford to pay our property tax. You're driving us, you know, into the homeless community. And she said, from Children's Services, well, we need your money, we need your money. And then the state will lower it by 1/10 of 4%. So no money, we need the money. And they grudgingly said, well, it's an emergency, we'll think about it, and we'll, make a decision. Whereas the original thought, people from Greenfield Township were instantly coming to me, well, we have this group that's voting, I don't know if it's a rehab center or a senior citizen assisted living center, but they're asking to go. They said, we've already, on our, we're asking for that, we've already approved a 50% tax eviction for 10 years. And they all, that's great. Yeah, just put it on for the rest of the residents who pay taxes. 66 versus 44, and I didn't make a public comment that they not. Why do you making the poor people pay all the property taxes for this big business? And instead of people making money. And they will, no answer to that.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dalton Bozek. I'm actually from Mahoning County. I was actually told about this by a friend of mine. Thank you for hosting this, and glad to see everybody. But especially, we can't just roll over and play that. That never helps. And especially saying that solution that you talked about, saying that we do have solutions, because we do have solutions. And at least speaking as a Democrat, I can say yes, as Democrats we do have solutions, and we need to keep saying those solutions, because Republicans claim to offer solutions, but they aren't. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul, and at the expense of not just our immediate futures, but I'm 30, so I hope we have a lot more time on this earth, and that's really robbing a greater portion of my future and hope my children's future. So, talking about all the solutions that we do have, yes, double Homestead Exemption, and reshifting the tax burden to bring back fair taxation in Ohio. Yes, we went from 40% to 58% share for residential property taxes. That is abhorrent. That needs to get reshifted. It needs to be equalized. And since 2005, we have had a flattening income tax in Ohio. That's a huge problem. Again,
When we do that, you see families. You are not families. So, in my mind, we have a split that, right? We have a split. We all have that. All of us have value. And when we have, a lot of societies, a lot of cultures place high value on as the earlier you get, you're a higher stature, right? You're a higher value. You're in the same higher value. It's like it's diminishing the returns. You put in all of this money into things like property tax code. You have helped build the public school in the great state of Ohio. By the way, one thing about that, 90% of all kids going to attending schools are going to public school. 90%. 10% choose to go to private. That's a choice. That's a choice. So I'm bringing that up to kind of segue into the other big situation behind the curtain here. Right? I would be remiss to talk about the true intent of a lot of the property tax fixes out there. Lawmakers in Columbus
And I'll single out my Republican friends, here. They make no bones about it. Again, think about budgets are a reflection of what we value. Rural funding, rural funding has been taking a hit. We're not going to do anything about management. We're going to cut it. We're not even come close to a comparison rationally. We need to put another $400 million into that to get us to the $800 million, which is what we require to fully fund public schools. We're going to spend from it about $250 or $300 million. If that. What are you going to do about funding? What are we going to do instead? We're going to up it. $500 million is enough. $1 billion is enough. $1.5 billion. Now, public money being used to pay for these guys who didn't ask for it, don't need it. Didn't ask for it, don't need it. Are now using public money to send their kids to private schools, Catholic schools, all the rest. And again, they don't need it, they didn't ask for it, but there's certainly taking it, and that money, that $1.5 is going to turn to $2 billion and more. This is the choice. You made your choice as a parent to send your kids to trial. You would send them to public. Got all the benefits of the public school. Maybe you have a high achieving student. Maybe that would help increase the educational attainment and outcomes in that school by keeping your smart kid in the public. But instead, you took those public dollars as a voucher and went into a private. Thereby defeating and funding the public entity in your neighborhood even more. Right? So it's a double blame to public schools, isn't it? It's a double blame. These vouchers. But I think you have a choice to go to private. You do have the choice to go to private. No one's telling you how to spend your dollar. You don't know what rate it. So that is for this part of what I wanted to kind of go over with a focus on the fix, which is right in front of us. Homestead Exemption, fix that, take care of the big problem that we have, which is seniors being taxed out of their homes. You take care of the homestead, you figure out a creative way to pay for it, whether you fund it government enough or government provide real impactful relief to our seniors. This problem doesn't completely go away, but a big chunk of it does. Do that first. People that know me the best in Portage County know that this is exactly what I told Heidi Berkman, Steve Demetrio, our two local state reps for Portage County, said, you guys made HB1 a property tax relief bill that amends the Homestead Exemption Act. And if you do that, you will solve the property tax issue. Largely. Then, you take care of that. Do that right away. Do that in the spring of 2025. Be done with that.
waiting, congratulating each other on doing the right thing for Steve. Then come back and deal with the great inequities with the way that we finance public schools in the state of Ohio. It's more complicated, but simplified. When I was on the lawmakers about this issue, they said, oh, Tom, it's a really complicated issue. It's, we gotta explain the ways in a lot of different ways, and it's really, really complicated. It's not complicated. It's math. It's math. And I tell you what, if the national average is that residents are paying 44% of the property tax government, why don't you try to change something off of the property tax burden for residents here in the great state of Ohio from 66% to something 50% for starters? If you drop the road 50%, that'd be great too. But get commercial entities to pay their fair share. I'm going to go to another item that has also been on the agenda down in the State House. I've talked about a lot of the stuff that just happened with the state budget. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know this, Mr. DeLong did veto almost all of the property tax, what was packaged as property tax relief. It was terrible ideas, honestly. One of them was, we're gonna do better than kick the can. We're gonna kick the can down some county. And Mr. Kennedy, and Mr. Kelly, and Mr. Lewandowski from the prosecutor's office, and also the county budget commission. And one of them, because these property taxes are hard. It's really hard for us to grapple with at the state level. So we're just going to go down to these guys at the county level and let them deal with it. And let them do the clawback of money from the school district. School districts in our book are overspending and they're not good fiscal stewards of their budget. They got all of this money that they're just wasting, and they're just rolling among no management, and there's very little transparency and oversight of these entities. So you, the commission, you're going to be charged with this, and you're going to be those school district financing. And you're going to see on a certain percentage that are carried over from the year before. You're going to claw that money back, Mr. Kennedy. You're going to claw back that overage, and you're going to package that as property tax relief for the people in your district. You're going to claw back that extra public school money. That's the solution. That's a joke. This is what they wanted us to do. And it's a serious policy prescription for fixing the property tax issue in the state of Ohio by putting it off on the shoulders of counties, all 88 counties across the state of Ohio. It would have provided that in the reality very limited relief to property tax folks, to residents. It would amount to just a snowflake of relief, not real transformative relief, not real impactful relief, but relief that they on the left can say, we fixed the problem. Nothing to see here anymore.
we fixed this, we listened. That wasn't fixed at all. I wrote about it, I talked about it, a lot of people, county treasurers across the state of Ohio disagreed with this and the policy solution. County others, they had similar, disaffection for this solution as well. And again, you have to look at intent here. What was the intent of doing this? If, their focus was solely on us redesigning public schools. Not township, not villages, not city budget, not county budget. One political entity. Public school. Why? Why? Because defunding public schools is the end game here. Every time you hear a politician in Columbus talking about a property tax solution, you should always look at it through the lens of, is this going to help or hurt public schools? 9 times out of 10, it's to hurt public schools. Don't forget that. Again, the stats are 90% of our kids in the state of Ohio are going to public schools. 10% are going to private. Why not this public money being spent out of the public and rerouted into the private?